I have poured a scotch exactly for this occasion. Okay, so I'm really not sure how to start this. I wanted to make at least one video about being a woman in the gaming world of any type and of any level. But it's a huge topic, and I had a lot of difficulty trying to piece apart how I would attack that. So this video is just going to be about my personal experience being a lady gamer. I was a closet gamer for a very long time. Growing up, my parents weren't really fans of video games. Similarly to the way they felt about TV, they thought it would rot your brains, and they kind of bought into that video games will give kids violent tendencies whole shebang. It was also a very kids should get outside and play in the sun kind of family, which is, there's nothing wrong with that, but for a very bookish child who wanted to spend all their time inside reading, I didn't quite fit that mold. So we did not have any kind of, I never had a Nintendo growing up. I never had anything. Never had any kind of gaming apparatus. Didn't have an Atari. Didn't have anything. So I wasn't really exposed to that at all. I'm debating how much to age myself by revealing facts of my childhood. Oh, yes. So what would happen is I would go over to friends' houses, and I was the kid who would go over to someone else's house, would constantly suggest hanging out, and then beg that person to play all their video games. This didn't work out that great, considering that, of course, each of those friends had played their own video games to exhaustion, so that didn't work that great. But I was hungry. I was hungry for the games. So what I was allowed access to as a kid was computer games, which for some reason bypassed my parents' no gaming policy. What I did get into and was allowed to play and was encouraged to play was Wishbone's The Odyssey, where in Wishbone, the book-reading dog from TV fame got trapped in a copy of the Odyssey somehow, and you had to go through the story of the Odyssey with him as Odysseus. It was a point-and-click adventure. It was painfully difficult, and at one point I got stuck for 6 months because I couldn't find the one pixel I needed to click on to find the next clue. But it was so good. I loved it. I played it twice at least, which is a lot when you're talking about a 12-year-old kid struggling through a point-and-click adventure when there are no walkthroughs on the internet yet. And beyond that, it was The Sims. Oh my God. Lots of kids were into The Sims. I think I fell into a special class in that, oh my, the hours of my life that I poured into The Sims. I don't even want to think about it. It's crazy. Now, I wasn't actually able to buy all of The Sims expansions, but believe me, I would. I had almost all of them. I had The Sims original. I had almost all of the expansions from The Sims 2, including Hot Date, which involved a lot of speculation and concern from my mother, but she relented. I played pretty much every edition of Oregon Trail that I could get my hands on. All of these are games that were either so bland that they could be considered innocent or had some kind of historical or educational slant, and that's how I got my hands on them, through my parents. It worked. It was fine. I enjoyed myself. Those were all fun games. I got my gaming rocks off reasonably well as a kid, despite some hiccups. But all this time, I did not consider myself a gamer. I didn't really know anyone who was a gamer, so that was probably part of it. We did not have a good arcade where I grew up, so I didn't know anybody who spent time there. And I didn't have any friends at the time who were actively and openly into gaming. So I didn't know that that was a thing that I could say that I liked and be proud of and make it a part of my identity. Which isn't, lots of kids are denied all kinds of things far more significant than that. What I did know about myself and was a huge part of my identity and still is, was that I love to read. Pretty much any time that I wasn't allowed to be in front of my computer, I was reading a book. That's how I got through all family vacations. I got in trouble constantly with my family because we would go on road trips and all kinds of, fun family vacations. And I would spend the entire time with my nose in a book because that was more entertaining to me. For some reason, I was a kid that needed fantasy to feed my creative need for entertainment. Because I read fantasy. Oh, yeah. Only read fantasy. Oh, no. Oh no, I wasted you. I'm so sorry. So childhood passed. Thankfully, it always does. And I went off to college. And I found I didn't have a great time in college personally. I hadn't quite blossomed and figured out who I was or who I wanted to hang out with. I mean, I made friends, really good friends, but I also ended up kind of depressed a lot. I was away from home and deadlines were fucking stressful. So I would spend my free time alone in my room playing computer games because that is where the obsession really took off. I bought a PS2 off of Craigslist. It was a very big deal. With myself, I remember debating it carefully with myself. Was it okay for me to buy this? It felt like a waste of money. It felt like something I wasn't supposed to be doing because I'd been told for so many years that gaming wasn't really a good thing for me to do. I'd been told this by my parents. And I finally said, just impulse, contacted the person and bought it on a street corner and played every Final Fantasy game ever. And that was the first year that I lived alone in college. And I mean, really unhealthy habits in the sense that I didn't leave my room very often, ever. But at the same time, that period was kind of a period of self-discovery. I played Dragon Age Origins my senior year. I discovered it shortly after it came out. And that got me through my midterms, I remember in the sense that it helped me procrastinate studying for my midterms. It actually probably almost made me fail. And that was that. Honestly, if I hadn't played Dragon Age Origins, I'm not sure where I'd be today at all. I'm serious. It was a big fucking deal. Oh yeah, I also got really into WoW when I was in college. Nothing against WoW. WoW is cool and WoW can be really fun if you play it with the right people and you approach it the right way. But also specifically, WoW is perfect if you're a depressed college student because there's no point, and that's kind of perfect. It's a shadow box. One day I'll make a whole video about how WoW is a pointless shadow box and it doesn't make any sense why it's so popular. And yet it does. And yeah, anyway, it's really interesting to me. But yeah, I got very into WoW, got all the way up to level 80 and then 85 because that became a thing. And wow, yeah, wow that wow. So, because then I graduated college, I moved all around the country for a little bit there. And when I settled down and had the job that became the beginning of my career at a publishing company, I bought a PS3. So it all ties back to Dragon Age. Dragon Age formed my identity to some extent. I discovered it in college. When Dragon Age 2 was announced, I could not wait. I remember thinking, yay, I'm so excited. Oh, it's a year out that it's coming. And then planning for it, saving for it. I had to play Dragon Age 2. I had to play it. I could not wait. I had played Dragon Age Origins on my little dinky college laptop, which by this point was quite old. I really wanted to play Dragon Age 2 as soon as it came out. By the way, I should mention, I'm one of the few people that actually really liked Dragon Age 2. Has lots of flaws. I still think it's a fantastic game. I'll talk about it another time. I should just do a whole series of videos about Dragon Age, and I will. So I bought it for PC, and Dragon Age 2 had far more advanced graphics than Dragon Age Origins had. I mean, it came out 3-4 years later. Things had changed. So my college laptop could not handle it. I tried. So then I had to come up with a plan because I had to play this game. It had been out for 48 hours and I still couldn't play it. Also, then my laptop broke. It was perfect. I went to Best Buy, used their laptop fix program, and then while I was there, I went to the video game section and dropped off my laptop, bought a PS3, bought Dragon Age 2, went home. It was the weekend, didn't leave my apartment for 48 hours. It was fantastic. I remember trying to finish it before Monday because I didn't want to stop playing it to go to work. That was the first time I experienced being so engrossed in a game that I couldn't stop thinking about it, couldn't stop thinking about the characters and how I felt about them. I was thinking about the characters as though they were my friends. I was deep into it. I was thinking, I missed Fenris while I was trying to do work. I would get home as soon as possible, sit down on a really hard chair because that's the only furniture that I had, and play Dragon Age 2 until past midnight, and then not sleep enough and then go back to work in the morning. It's a common tale to anybody who loves video games. All right, where was I? I got distracted by Dragon Age. So Dragon Age happened. And the thing about Dragon Age 2 is that was the beginning of me just beginning to say, maybe I like video games. Seems obvious now, but only a few years ago did I look back and realize I've always loved games and I've denied it and I've never called myself a gamer. And it wasn't until 5 years ago that I would ever even think about admitting to another human being, I play video games. So after Dragon Age 2, the hunger was back. I needed to play games. So I went on this discovery of what else is out there in this whole world of gaming. I've never really allowed myself to think about what I might like to play. I did Final Fantasy in college, but Dragon Age Origins was what opened up the door, and really Dragon Age 2 opened up the door into this whole other world of, there's like a shit ton of games out there, and a lot of them are really, really good. So I discovered the Uncharted series. I went back and played everything by Naughty Dog. I went back and tried to play everything that BioWare had ever done. And I discovered some indie games that I really liked, like The Longest Journey, that whole series, and Dreamfall, and now more recently Dreamfall Chapters. Those were a whole nother eye-opening, world-changing experience for me. And it's been great since then. It's been wonderful to discover something that I love so deeply and get so invested in a similar way to the way I felt about books. I mean, I would read books constantly and get so deeply invested in the characters that it would hurt when I finished the book. It would be awful because I had to say goodbye to all those characters that I'd grown so fond of. And so I play video games that are extremely character focused, very story driven. I just remembered I was planning on making this about being a woman in gaming, a lady gamer. And I haven't got there yet. Maybe that'll be a different video.